Hello, my name's Kai, and I play the violin.
Hi, I'm Carissa. I play viola.
And I'm Gareth. I play bass, and today we'll be playing Movement for String Trio by Coleridge Taylor Perkins. It was composed in 2004, and it was one of the final pieces he wrote on his deathbed.
Coleridge Taylor Perkinson was named after the composer Samuel Coleridge Taylor. He was raised in a very musical household. He was the co-founder and musical director of the Symphony of the New World that is based in New York City. He worked primarily in New York City and Chicago, but also did travel with his music. And the locations where he worked are really reflected in his fusion of jazz and classical styles.
So that jazz influence is mostly visible in this piece in terms of a lot of the harmony he uses. Uh, Very rarely does he use anything that's sort of conventional or traditional, and a lot of the chords are related more so by voice leading than actual typical function that we might expect. And he does away with a lot of um, cadences and uses things that sort of act in place of a traditional 5/1, some altered dominance, half step away from the root. And I think there is actually one place where he kind of approaches a authentic cadence in a roundabout way.
Well, please enjoy our version of Coleridge Taylor Perkinson's Movement for String Trio.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. We are a string trio, and we will be performing the Passacaglia by Tien Sin Cindy Wu. Our trio is comprised of myself and first violin Daniel Worms.
I'm Bryn Gallup. I'm also the second violinist.
And I'm Emmy Tisdell, and I'm the violist.
The composer Tien Sin Cindy Wu is both a violinist and a violist, and she enjoys a versatile career primarily as a soloist, chamber musician, and educator, although she is also a composer. She has performed throughout North America, Europe, and Asia.
She has collaborated in concerts with artists including Kim Kashkashian and Yuja Wang.
She has also collaborated as a guest violist with the Dover Quartet, the Formosa Quartet, Orion Quartet, and the Shanghai Quartet.
She not only performs, but she also teaches violin, chamber music, and string pedagogy at the Thornton School of Music at the University of Southern California. She was in residence there from 2010 to 2015, and she has also coached chamber music at the Encore School for Strings and the Hotchkiss Summer Portals Project.
She is currently the artist in residence and artistic partner of the Camera Society in Los Angeles.
As for how we found this piece, it was kind of good fortune that I stumbled across this piece on YouTube while we were looking for trios. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm very glad that I found it, and I hope that you all enjoy our performance.
Hi, my name is Joshua, and so is he. My piece is a traditional Mexican folk tune called La Llorona. La Llorona is a story of a woman who drowns her children in a river and then drowns herself afterwards out of grief. And she is forever condemned to walk the banks of that riverbed, crying and searching for the bones of her children in order to pass on. So I was inspired to make this piece because my great-grandma used to sing songs very similar to this. I don't think she ever actually sung this specific one. And play her guitar at the same time. So I tried to incorporate a lot of those kind of folk elements as well as some elements of mariachi into my playing. This piece is an amalgamation of several versions of this song that I found. It starts with a basic waltz guitar rhythm that you actually use the pick for. Above that I have several layers of melody, and then above that I have some elements of mariachi, including a mandolin sound and pizzicato. This piece is supposed to bridge the gap between folk and classical music. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about Taylor Coleridge Perkinson, the composer of this piece. So he was named after composer Samuel Coleridge Taylor, and he had a very strong interest in music and composition since he was young. Around the time he graduated high school, he won the LaGuardia Prize for music, and he majored in education at New York University for college for 2 years, and then he went to the Manhattan School of Music and got a degree in composition. He composed many different works, ranging from unaccompanied solo instruments like violin and cello to works for chorus and orchestra. And his most well-known piece of chamber music is the Cavalry Quartet. In addition to instrumental music, he also composed movie score music, including the movie he's best known for, A Warm December, starring and directed by Cindy Poitier, and Montgomery in Memphis, a documentary about Martin Luther King Jr. He also composed theme songs for TV shows such as Get Christy Love and Room 22, and he composed and arranged for a variety of jazz and popular artists, including Harry Belafonte, Donald Byrd, and Marvin Gaye. In addition to all of his composition, he was the co-founder and associate conductor for the Symphony of the New World, and he served as its acting music director from 1972 to 1973, and its conductor from 1965 until 1970. This was the first integrated orchestra of the United States. He also did teaching, and he taught at Indiana University and the Columbia College in Chicago. He served as the music director and composer in residence for the Negro Ensemble Company, Elvin Aury Dance Company, the Dance Theater of Harlem, and the American Theater Lab, the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, and the Goodman Theater. And at the time of his death, he was the artist in residence for the Ritz Chamber Players of Jacksonville, Florida, and they actually performed the piece that you will hear today, the Movement for String Trio, in 2010 in Philadelphia. Thank you.
More information about this piece In the year following the death of Coleridge Taylor Perkinson, a wide-ranging overview of his music was issued on a collection called A Celebration. Paul Freeman conducts the Chicago Sinfonetta. This piece, Movement for String Trio, was included in that collection as an ending because it was written in 2004 from his deathbed. It is the only one string trio in this collection, and I think it's also the only one string trio he made in his life. Music critic David Roman reviews A Celebration in 2006 said, "It is a profoundly sweet, sad, self-recurring for man should have been heard, and one hopes will be heard now, though he won't be here to enjoy the long overdue recognition." Thank you.
So Coleridge Taylor Perkinson's piece resembles that of a requiem. Requiems were very popular in the Baroque era, and Bach himself wrote one. A requiem is a mass for the repose of the souls of the dead. In the musical context, it represents an elegy of sorts or a funeral piece. Bach utilized Gregorian chants in many of his melodies. Perkinson incorporates a famous Gregorian chant from Dies Irae, a Latin hymn sung in a mass for the dead. You can hear this melody in the opening phrase of the viola melody, though it is well camouflaged. You can also hear a lament bass, which is also characteristic of pieces composed by Bach. Lastly, you can hear cadences that are preceded by a trill leading into the next musical phrase, which is a musical trait that characterizes Bach very well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carissa Poe, and I'm a violinist in the Suarez Quartet. Tonight, my colleagues Delia Robina on violin, Andrew Nix on viola, Sarah Dallas on cello, and myself will be playing the Demeter Prelude for You by Margaret Brower.
So for putting our piece together, we started by doing Zoom calls and clapping out the rhythm with one another, and we would each take turns of who was doing their rhythm unmuted because Zoom is not perfectly synced. And we did a first round of recording where one person records, we decide who has the most steady beat at that time, and then the other three of us record on top of it. And we continue that throughout the piece, so we would just get a feeling of it. We would see how it was to record on top of one another. And then the last 2 weeks, we've been doing the final recording, which is basically the same thing as a practice recording, but now we have it to a T. We understand how we work with one another. So we had a whole schedule where we need to record this by this, and basically we put together this piece.
Margaret Brower is an award-winning American composer. Brower graduated from Oberlin College in 1962, received her master's degree from Michigan State University, and earned her DMA in composition from Indiana University. Brower has performed as a violinist in groups such as the Fort Worth Symphony and the Dallas Symphony. She later served as the head of the composition department at the Cleveland Institute of Music from 1996 to 2008. In 2011, Brower founded Blue Streak Ensemble, a chamber group dedicated to playing works of living composers such as herself. Brower is a recipient of numerous prestigious awards and was named one of the best female classical composers on Naxos' album, Power to the Women.
Demeter Prelude by Margaret Brower is based on the Greek myth of Demeter and Persephone. In the myth, Persephone is captured by Hades and taken to the underworld. Demeter, her mother, hears her cry for help and goes searching for her. Tonight, we will play the first half of the piece, which describes the adventures that Demeter encounters on her search, as well as her determination and her love for her daughter. We hope you will enjoy this masterful work of musical storytelling.